There are 6 different crafting skills in Elder Scrolls Online. I will go over each, what they do, how to level them quickly, what to upgrade, and what their end goals are. The description will have timestamps to each section. General. This section covers information relative to all crafting skills. Crafting skills in Elder Scrolls Online are a way to further your character and possibly make extra gold. They are not required, but can be used to augment your character and are worth your time. General leveling. The inspiration boost perk from the Tower Champion tree increases your inspiration, or skill experience, by 20%. This is not vital for leveling skills, but can save money while power leveling. This and Elder Scrolls Plus are the only ways to directly boost your experience gain. Most skills level faster if you make the highest level items you can, which means spending skill points. If you don't have many skill points, consider respeccing before leveling skills. Then respec back to the build you want once you're finished leveling. This lets you level faster and possibly save skill points on things that you don't need after you're leveling. Daily writs. These are daily quests found on billboards in town with any crafting station. These quests involve making simple, low rarity items and turning them in for some gold, experience, crafting materials, and a chance at a rare master writ. These are mostly busy work. If you want to make them a bit faster, consider getting the Lazy Writ add-on. Link is in the description. This add-on will craft all writ items with one button press and auto-progresses all writ crest dialogue. Master writs. These are consumables found from daily writs or bought off the marketplace. These writs involve making extremely specific items from a specific crafting profession. These can range from very easy to extremely difficult. Make sure to read the item before you use it, as it can't be undone. Remember, they can be traded, so if you have a writ that you cannot do, you can trade it for some gold. Master writs reward writ vouchers, which is a unique currency that can be used to buy items from the master writ vendor. Items offered range from crafting stations for your house, a unique motif, updated Civic ambrosia, and research reduction items. Gear crafting. Blacksmithing, Clothier, and Woodworking are all basically the same. They make gear each of their own types. Blacksmithing is heavy armor and metal, Clothier is medium and light armor, Woodworking is bows, staves, and shields. To make items, you first need materials, which are collected from the world and refined at a station. Metal, wood, and fabric is found as nodes in the world, while leather is dropped from hostile animals. Refine 10 raw materials to give some refined materials and a chance at a upgrade material. To make an item, click the Creation tab and select the item you want. Material determines the level of the item. Each material is a level range, and the plus or minus lets you target the exact even level. Style determines the appearance of the item. You start with just your own race's style. You can unlock more styles by using style motif items, which are found throughout the world. Traits are a bonus effect on the item. To unlock a trait, you must first research it. Click the Research tab. Here you can consume an item with a trait you want to learn, and after some time, gain the ability to make an item with that trait. You first start with 1 research at a time, but can unlock up to 3. The more traits you know for each item, the longer it takes to learn it, with the last taking a full month to learn. Because this, level up researching skills as soon as you can, and make smart choices when you're early researches. For example, a healing staff probably wants the power trait, which increases healing, so learn it early. Other traits of interest are training, which increases your experience gain, divines on armor, which increases your Mundus Stone power and is the ideal endgame trait. On weapons, sharpened and precise are very common. Special mention to Nirnholm trait, which is extremely rare and only found in an endgame zone. For the most part, ignore this as it's too expensive to be worth your time. The best way to level item crafting skills is to disassemble everything you find, with the exception to ornate items which can be sold for a decent bit of gold. The fastest way to level requires a lot of gold. Go to a guild trader and search for any items with the intricate trait. This gives 2 to 3 times more XP for disassembly and is the fastest way to level. Remember that each area has multiple guild traders, each with different stocks, so check each from different towns if needed. These skills slowly level by themselves if you always disassemble your gear, so if you're in no rush to math crafting, just let it slowly tick up. For skills, I will use metalworking as an example, but the other 2 have exact counterparts. Metalworking is only needed if you want to make gear of a certain level. If you are just passively leveling, ignore it. Keen Eye is useful at one point to identify hard-to-see resources. The later game resources are solid red, making it not as useful, but still has use for some harder-to-see resources. Hireling gives you free materials daily. It's worth it if you can spare the 3 skill points, but if you can't, it is not a big deal. Metal extraction improves refining, good if you frequently harvest raw ore from the world. This can make it return legendary tier upgraded materials, which sell for a lot. Metallurgy is a max whenever you can. It reduces research time and increases the amount you can research at once. Take this as soon as you can, even if you're not seriously leveling crafting. Temper experience is needed if you want to upgrade anything past blue, as the upgrades can be rather expensive, and this halves the amount needed. Writs. Daily writs for gearcraft are extremely simple. Make a bunch of traitless items of any style of the highest material you can make. If you have all 3 gear crafting professions, this can take a while, so I recommend using the Lazy Writ add-on, which does it all in one button press. For master writs, you are given an order for an extremely specific item with exact trait, rarity, style, set. Read the item carefully before using, and only use it when you are absolutely sure you can make the item. They are tradable, so if you get one that you can't make, you can trade it for a decent sum of gold. Endgame gear crafting is set crafting. In the world you may have noticed some places with a hammer, a nail, and a fire. These are set crafting locations. If you make an item here and you have the trait requirements, you can make it of a specific set. These sets range in power and are usually the core of a lot of endgame builds. Each set has a trait requirement, meaning you can only make it if you've met the required amount of traits learned. Some later sets require you to learn all 9 traits, so it's important to get research started early if you want to craft these. Crafting 9 trait sets can be a very good source of gold. Provisioning. Provisioning is a simple skill and is easiest to level. It makes food which temporarily increases stats. To make food, you need ingredients and a recipe. Both are found plentifully in common containers. Once you have a recipe and the materials, go to a cooking station, which is usually a campfire. Just click the recipe you want, press craft, and that's it. Higher rarity food increases more stats. Foods tend to be flat increases to health, stamina, or magicka, while drinks tend to be regeneration. Some event foods bypass this rule. Leveling it is very simple. The fastest way takes skill points, and a slower way that doesn't take skill points. The skill point free way just makes level 1 recipe all the way to 50. It will take a very long time, but is doable, and the material use is very light. The faster way costs a little bit of gold and some skill points. The skill recipe improvement determines the level of the food you make, so upgrading the skill as soon as you can and making the highest level food will level you the fastest. Starting at level 1, go to a trader and find 5 recipes for each level recipe improvement, ignoring level 6. Then take note of the ingredients you need from the recipes you bought, and buy as many as you can. They're usually rather cheap. Then make the food that you can for 10 levels. Increase recipe improvement and then go to the next one. Continue until you hit 50. In the end, it just comes down to mashing E for 30 minutes. For skills, take recipe quality only if you want to make food of blue or higher rarity. Recipe improvement increases the level of the food, which is good for both leveling and making casual food for yourself. Gourmand and connoisseur are only good if you frequently consume food or drink and you want it to last longer. Chef and brewer make more efficient crafting, which is vital for cooking for profit. Hireling gives you random food ingredients daily and is good if you can spare the skill points. Writs. Daily writs are simple. You make one specific food and one specific drink. These recipes are usually sold by the chef NPCs or are extremely cheap on the market. They are simple green food. These writs often reward materials needed for epic and legendary quality food, including parts to the Sigic Ambrosia recipe. Master writs are even easier, where you make a lot of one specific kind of food. This could be any recipe in the game, so make sure it is obtainable first. Endgame provisioning is making endgame food and Sigic Ambrosia. Endgame food is pretty dynamic. Look for what you need or what your friends need and make it. For example, my character is stamina, so I make food that gives my character mainly stamina and health. Look around and see what you need to make the void. Do note that some event food gives very specific combinations of stats. Sigic Ambrosia is the hardest thing you can make in provisioning. First, the recipe. It could be bought off the trader for a large sum of gold or assembled through all the parts found in the daily writs. Once you have the recipe, getting materials is another feat. Frostmarum and Berez juice both come from daily writs of the hireling and are decently common on the marketplace, but the hard one is perfect roe. Roe comes extremely rarely from skinning fish, meaning to find one, you have to spend a lot of time fishing, which can be very dull. These do so well if you find them even if you can't make the ambrosia, so it is worth your time if you do find one. Bonus fishing guide. The fish you need to find a fishing hole. These last for a fixed amount of time before moving somewhere else. There are 4 kinds of bait based on what type of water you're fishing in. If you get back used bait when you're fishing, you are using the wrong type of bait. Bait is collected as drops or by collecting bugs in the world. Do not use vendor bait, it isn't worth it. To fish, press E at a hole with the correct bait selected, press it again when the rod raises. Only white fish can be skinned for a chance of perfect roe. Any higher rarity fish can only be sold to vendors for gold. Alchemy. Alchemy is the process of making potions and poisons. Potions go in your quick bar and provide an instant bonus to any stat. Poisons go in weapons as an alternative to enchantments. Alchemy also has a trait that massively improves all potion effects, making it worthwhile even if you don't actively craft. To make something in alchemy, go to an alchemy table. Select the solvent you want. This determines the level and if it's a potion or a poison. Waters are potions and oils are poison. Next, 2 reagents. If they have a similar trait, the concoction will be crafted with those traits. If they have conflicting traits, like Restore Health and Ravage Health, they would be counted out. If there are no matches, the crafting fails. There is no easy way to level alchemy other than brute force. First, you probably want to learn all reagent traits. Someone on the forum calculated the cheapest path to discover all traits. Link is in the description. Craft those in order, and you should have everything discovered. After this, it's just a bunch of mass potion making to your level. The most efficient way is to find 2 cheap materials that make a potion together. It could be a useless potion like a potion of slowness. Make a bunch of these and you can level up solvent proficiency and upgrade the solvent you're using. Repeat this until 50. For skills, solvent proficiency is the skill that determines the level of your elixirs. Level it if you actually want to use alchemy, else leave it alone. Kenai 1 is required if you want to collect any herbs in the world as they blend into the environment. Medicinal use increases elixir duration, which is extremely powerful. A lot of combat-focused players that don't usually use crafting skills level alchemy just for this passive. Chemistry is good if you want to increase your crafting efficiency, but useless if you never actually use crafting. Laboratory use lets you use another reagent, making your potions even more complicated. This can make very powerful elixirs. Snake blood is mostly useless in most situations. It has its uses if your best possible elixir for your situation also has a strong downside, but you can always craft so you don't have any downsides. Writs. Daily writs are simple. Make a potion or poison with the same name as their quest. The first one in the item is the solvent, and the second is the combination. Master writs are also easy. They want a lot of an extremely specific mixture. They require laboratory use to do. Just experiment with the reagents until you find an exact match, and then make it. Chemistry is extremely useful here to save on materials. Endgame alchemy is a mix of making personalized elixirs and combat-focused buffs. A lot of hardcore PvPers level up alchemy for medicinal use and buy the elixirs off other people. This could be a way to make money if you pay attention to what they currently want. Other than that, elixirs could be used a way to compensate for your character's downsides, like healing and defense for a glass cannon, or unexpected utility like stealth on a dragon knight. Enchanting. Enchanting is the process of making glyphs or gear. Provide small stat boosts or effects with a short cooldown. To start enchanting, go to enchanting table. To make a glyph, you need 3 runestone, 1 of each type. Square runestones determine the level, and if it increases or decreases the stat. Triangle runestones determine what stat it affects. Circle runestones determine the rarity. Like alchemy, runestone traits are unknown at first and are learned by crafting with it. Runestones are collected in the world, disassembled from runes, or bought from traders. Leveling enchanting is a pain. Disassembly is by far the best experience, and you can slow level the skill by disassembling every rune you find. I recommend slow leveling enchanting, as it will take a lot of gold to rush it. If you note, making glyphs doesn't give that much experience. Neither does disassembling your own glyphs. You do get a large chunk of experience if you're using a runestone for the first time, so remember to use your best runes when discovering traits. After that, the best method is to disassemble other players' glyphs, ideally with a friend who also wants to level enchanting at the same time. Purple rarity is ideal for most as it gives a lot of experience without being needlessly expensive. The solo option is to buy purple glyphs off the trader and disassemble them, but this can get very expensive very quickly. For skills, aspect improvement and potency are only needed if you want to make the high quality endgame glyphs. Keen Eye is useless as rune nodes in the world glow red. Hireling is good if you can spare the skill points. Runestone extraction is very weak for the cost of 3 skill points. Writs. The other writs has you make a specific glyph. Do note the enchanter NPC sells all square runes, so if you lack one, you can buy it straight from there. If you have all traits discovered, just try to match the glyph name. Lazy Writs add-on can make this process much simpler. Master Writs are the same process, but a high-leveled, high-rarity glyph. Game enchanting is simple. All gear can have glyphs, and people want the best glyphs for the best gear. You can make decent money by being aware of new trends in gear, like a popular new build that uses an uncommon glyph, or just make what the meta builds use. Glyphs don't often sell for much, but they sell reliably, as everyone needs them.
Hi, Kippy.